I know we are just at the start and the very beginning of OTAs, but there was a couple of really great things that came out of day one that we're going to cover in this video. But first, I wanted to bring you up to speed on a couple of no shows, and not a shock to anybody out there when we mention the name Jair Alexander, who's currently working through some contract details between he and the Packer organization. We do know that Brian Gutekunst did offer Jair a contract restructure, probably built in some incentives, and now he and his agent are working through that between he and Gutekunst. We're hoping they come to a resolution here soon, but another no-show due to contract restructure. Not a surprise to anybody out there when we mention the name Elton Jenkins. Okay, so Jenkins moved from guard to center to help out the Packers. Now he wants to be compensated accordingly, so he is holding out, looking for a contract restructure as well. Okay, those are, obvious ones. Okay. So when we mention injuries and who wasn't a no-show, another obvious one would be Christian Watson. Christian Watson, of course, with the torn ACL, was a no-show due to injuries. However, Matt LaFleur did give an encouraging update that he's trending in a very good direction. In fact, he's a little bit ahead of schedule. So that's great news for Packer fans out there, because that's just going to be another tool in Matt LaFleur's arsenal when we start talking about offensively and what the Packers are capable of doing. Savion Williams, who I'm excited to see, he practiced only in a red non-contact jersey. Colin Oliver, another rookie out there, did not show due to an injury. But a name that we need to keep a close eye on is a guy that didn't show up all last season, a guy that I thought would provide a great 1-2 punch in our backfield that didn't pretty much play all offseason and during the season. When we mentioned the name Marshawn Lloyd, he was also a no-show. Kind of disappointing news, because I really want to see what Marshawn Lloyd can do. I think he's got the capabilities, and the Packers invested a draft pick with the thought that this dude is going to get out on the football field and be able to produce. However, he hasn't been able to do so. Again, a no-show, but Matt LaFleur did give an update to the guys that didn't show up due to injuries that nothing was long lasting. So that is encouraging news for everyone out there. Okay, so I want to highlight a couple of really great things that came out of day one. Jordan Love looked incredibly sharp. Okay, so Love, his most impressive throw came in a 7-on-7 period when he and Dontavian Wicks hooked up between three defenders, including Zane Anderson, Evan Williams, and then he hauled in probably a 50-yard pass. Great news, not just for the fact that Jordan Love is looking sharp, but he and Dontavian Wicks were able to connect. Probably a very good thing that the Packers, Brian Gutekunst, who's a brilliant general manager, went out and drafted Matthew Golden when he did, especially when you have a young, talented quarterback like Jordan Love under the helm, and you've got young talent around them. Our iron sharpens iron. We've already talked about that, but rookie first round Matthew Golden also looked smooth in running his routes, which is great. He looked the part of a first round draft pick. Very encouraging news, and that's only going to help the guys get better around him, especially when we start mentioning the name Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, all of that. And here's what Jordan Love had to say. He says, there's a lot of things right now that we're just trying to work on. I'm just trying to be consistent as possible with accuracy, ball placement, things like that, the timing of my feet, timing up of the routes, trying to marry all of that stuff up. And we know that when you get a guy like Matthew Golden in there and trying to get your timing down with the routes and all of that is going to be something that the Packers are going to really work hard at this offseason before the season begins. Another great thing that came out of OTAs is a pickup by Brian Gutekunst in free agency, going and signing a guy for 4 years, $48 million, and Nate Hobbs. Nate Hobbs looked super good. It said, while Jordan Love had a strong day cornerback, Nate Hobbs had two impressive plays on the ball in second team practice. One was on third down. Jordan Love pump faked through the ball to Tucker Kraft, and Hobbs wasn't fooled. And then another time was a pass broken up over the middle to Luke Musgrave. Hobbs jumped the route, got in front of it, and it was said that Matt LaFleur was talking about Nate Hobbs and says, man, this guy is looking great. He certainly looks the part. He's the guy that I think brings a lot of flexibility to our defense, also versatility. So he can play inside, outside. We know that about Nate Hobbs. So I'm super encouraged and super grateful that the Packers went out and got Nate Hobbs, who I think is going to only help the Green Bay Packer defense. I'm excited to see what Jeff Hafley's able to do with the talent that they've got. There's loads and loads of talent, but great news comes out of day one of OTA. Jordan Love, what can we expect out of Jordan Love? Is it going to be the last 8 weeks of his rookie, quote unquote, rookie 2023-2024 season, where he had 70.2 completion percentage? He threw for over 2,100 yards, 18 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. He had a passer rating of 112.7. Or was it the Jordan Love of last season? Not that it was bad statistically, but we know that statistically was better than probably, than reality. He threw for 3,389 yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He threw a lot of picks early on, and I think it was due to the lack of mobility in his knee. He had a passer rating of a 96.7. So which Jordan Love can we expect? Great start to the 2025 season right now that he's looking super sharp. Very encouraging news for us Packer fans out there. Leave your comments, and as always, go Pack Go.